During a race, anything can change at the last minute. And that's how Sebastian Vettel came out on top, even when Fernando Alonso was all set to win in 2010. From shocking last lap twists to nail-biting photo finishes, these are the top 10 closest title finishes in F1 history. Starting with Lewis Hamilton's winning the championship against Felipe Massa at the 2008 Brazilian Grand Prix. Hamilton found himself in the midst of yet another intense championship fight, this time with Massa at Ferrari. Massa had a point to prove and put in a supreme performance, starting from pole position and winning the race. Just when we thought we knew the outcome, nature had other plans. Late rain made the race chaotic, jumbling the running order behind Massa. Hamilton, having switched to intermediate tyres, slipped to 6th with only 2 laps to go. It almost looked like he'd miss out on the championship for the second year in a row. Timo Glock, driving for Toyota, took a gamble by staying on slick tyres and was running 4th. But the rain-soaked track slowed him down dramatically. In a crazy moment, Hamilton seized the opportunity and caught up to Glock on the penultimate corner of the entire season. With a daring move, he overtook Glock, securing the World Championship in the most unbelievable way. That wasn't the only close finish Hamilton was involved in, though. In 2007, though, he'd had less luck and ended up finishing 7th. The battle between Fernando Alonso and rookie teammate Lewis Hamilton at McLaren was as fierce on the track as it was off it, with Ferrari's Kimi Raikkonen and Felipe Massa hot on their heels. With only 2 rounds to go, Hamilton was on the verge of securing the championship, but a freak retirement at the Chinese Grand Prix kept the title up for grabs. The finale in Brazil brought more misfortune as a gearbox problem dropped Hamilton to the back of the field. Raikkonen needed a win and for Alonso to reach no higher than 3rd. And the race played out exactly as he needed it to, with Hamilton recovering to 7th, falling just short of the title. It was an agonizing moment for Hamilton, but few could argue that Raikkonen didn't deserve his incredible victory. These battles were still relatively recent, but there have been more impressive finishes in older races, like in 1994, when the legendary Michael Schumacher went up against Damon Hill. It seemed like Michael Schumacher had the World Championship title in his pocket after a dominant start, winning 6 out of the first 7 races. But the German driver faced some setbacks, retiring from a race and getting disqualified once again at the Belgian Grand Prix. He missed 2 races and failed to score in 6 consecutive races. Meanwhile, Hill capitalized on the German's misfortunes, closing the gap to just 1 point heading into the final round. As the final race unfolded, Schumacher led the pack, but a crucial mistake opened the door for Hill to overtake him. Sadly, instead of gracefully accepting defeat, Schumacher drove into Hill's Williams, damaging Hill's suspension and forcing both drivers to retire. Shockingly, this incident secured the title for Schumacher. Sure, Williams chose not to appeal, but this would later come back to haunt Schumacher in the 1997 season, where he was retrospectively disqualified from the championship. So it's hard to say if that win worked out in his favor or not. There's one win no one can easily forget, though. It's the time Sebastian Vettel won by just 4 points against Fernando Alonso in 2010. In 2010, things were in favor of Fernando Alonso and Ferrari winning the F1 title in Abu Dhabi. But in the end, Sebastian Vettel and Red Bull won a long-shot title thanks to a smart move. The championship was hanging in the balance, with Vettel trailing Alonso by 15 points as they arrived in Abu Dhabi. But when the race started, Alonso's hopes took a hit. A collision between the Mercedes pair of Nico Rosberg and Michael Schumacher caused chaos. The safety car was deployed, giving some drivers the opportunity to switch to more durable medium tyres for the remainder of the race. Webber was struggling with deteriorating rear tyres, so he decided to pit early. Sensing an opportunity, Ferrari made a critical decision to bring Alonso into the pits as well. Unfortunately for Alonso, he re-entered the track behind Rosberg and Vitaly Petrov's Renault, both of whom didn't need to pit again. Alonso found himself stuck behind Petrov for a staggering 40 laps, unable to make a move due to the Renault's straight-line speed and the absence of DRS and high-performance tyres. But Vettel, starting from pole position, controlled the race at the front, steadily building a lead that rarely seemed in danger. In the end, Vettel cruised to victory, securing his first ever Formula One World Championship. In the 2016 finale in Abu Dhabi, it was finally time for Nico Rosberg to triumph over his teammate. In the last race of the season, reigning champion Hamilton was 12 points behind teammate Nico Rosberg. Until then, Rosberg had only been on the podium once in the last 11 races. Mercedes was getting stronger and stronger, and in the last 3 races, Hamilton and Rosberg finished first and second respectively. Hamilton tried to change the outcome by driving slowly around the Abu Dhabi track. This slowed everyone down, and Vettel was able to catch up to Rosberg quickly. But Rosberg was able to hold off Vettel. This was one of the few races in modern times in which the third-place driver ended less than a second behind the winner. Rosberg won the title with his 4th straight 1-2 finish. He went on to win the World Championship title that year and successfully ended Hamilton's 2-year winning streak. Speaking of winning streaks, Verstappen's current wins might be impressive. But just a couple of seasons ago, he managed to overtake Hamilton on the very last lap in 2021. Wheel-to-wheel racing, crashes, disagreements, and exciting passes. This race had it all. There had been a lot of discussion leading up to the season finale about how difficult it might be to decide a title that's been so close all season. In the end, it was an unexpected decision. For the first time since 1974, title contenders went into the final race with the same number of points. Verstappen won the pole position, but Hamilton was in front by the first turn, and aside from a moment of wheel-to-wheel action on the first lap, it almost looked like the Mercedes driver would win and become F1's first 8-time champion. With 6 laps left, Nicholas Latifi crashed, so the safety car came out, leaving Verstappen behind. Mercedes chose not to pit Hamilton, while Verstappen went to the pit to get new tyres. Race director Michael Masi said at first that cars that had been lapped wouldn't be able to pass the safety car. But he changed his mind and let the 5 lapped cars between Hamilton and Verstappen unlap themselves. That's when Verstappen passed Hamilton on the 57th lap and got his first title in a controversial win. This might have been a slim victory for Verstappen, but this next one's even crazier. The rivalry between James Lauda and Niki Hunt from 1973 to 1979 is one of the most famous ones in F1 history. On or off the track, neither of them was willing to give an inch in 1976. After his near-death crashing at the Nürburgring, Lauda had to sit out, while Hunt won race after race to get closer to the title. Lauda could get back to racing just 6 weeks after the crash, if he worked very hard. But in the last race of the season on a rainy Fuji, the Austrian thought the risks were too high and pulled out of the race on his own. Hunt finished in 3rd place and won his first Drivers' Championship by 1 point. And if you want to see more close title finishes in F1 history, like and subscribe to The Grid Reports, where we bring you the latest F1 updates.